After almost 2.5 years, Saturn will be transiting from Aquarius to Pisces. Saturn's transit is considered to be the most powerful because it has the ability to change our lives. In this video, I'll take a look at how this transit could impact all of us. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very, very warm Namaste. Aham Brahmasmi. Saturn has been transiting in the zodiac of Aquarius since January 2023, and now after 2+ years, it will transit into the next zodiac of Pisces on March 29th, 2025, and it will remain there until June 2nd, 2027. Saturn is the slowest moving planet, and it takes about 30 years to orbit around the sun, so it spends about 2.5 years in each zodiac. It will be in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapad, which is ruled by Jupiter. But very soon after the transit to Pisces, it will transit into the next nakshatra of Uttar Bhadrapada on April 27, 2025, and stay there until October 3rd, 2025. Now, Uttar Bhadrapada is ruled by Saturn itself, so basically Saturn will be transiting in its own nakshatra for approximately 5 months. So we will be experiencing the results of Saturn via its own placement and condition of it in our birth charts rather than any other planets. Now, the best way to understand it is that if Saturn is well placed in your chart, you will get very favorable results. And if Saturn is in a challenged or difficult placement in your own birth chart, then you may not get very favorable results. Now, this year, there is a bit of a challenge associated with the Saturn transit, and that is that Rahu has already been transiting in the zodiac of Pisces since late 2023, and it's on its way out of Pisces and into Aquarius, and that'll do that on May 30th. But when Saturn enters Pisces, it will conjunct with Rahu, and this is a very dreaded conjunction, and it will create extreme discomfort worldwide as well as for the individuals. The 2 months of the Rahu-Saturn conjunction can create a lot of havoc, and it can make changes in the world as well. In fact, because Saturn is already so close to exiting Aquarius at this time, it's past 27 degrees already, that we may have started to sense these changes in our energy, in our lives, and in the world order as well. Now, this is very normal when a heavy planet transits. The change can be felt prior to the actual transit date. Now, the dates are starting April 10th, and especially the 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, both Rahu and Saturn will be in a very tight hug with each other because they will be at the exact same degree in Pisces. And no, it's not a friendly hug. So those sensitive days, as far as the world events are concerned, are going to be exceptionally bad for natural disasters and accidents of all kinds, but specifically related to water, because Pisces is a water sign, so even earthquakes and even air disasters can occur. Also, it's not favorable for the war situation, and then somebody could make a really bad decision and make things worse. There can be also some religious clashes in some countries during that time, but I'm going to speak more about that in my solar eclipse video, which I hope to make very soon after that. So understand that Pisces is a watery sign, and it's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter represents our dharma, our religion, and so when two clashing planets such as Saturn and Rahu come into this zodiac of Pisces, there can be, like I mentioned, there can be religious clashes, but there can also be water-related accidents, natural disasters. There can be disasters in the air as well, because Jupiter is an air sign. So literally there can be disasters, natural accidents of any kind, but especially water-related incidents can occur at that time. I don't mean to scare you, just become aware of it. I'm not saying it's really something bad can happen, but certain things can happen. Politicians, especially because there's also a solar eclipse on that day, on the day that Saturn makes its transit. Politicians also could make some unwise choices or decisions that can lead to unfavorable situations with the war situations that's going on. But like I said, I'll make more detailed predictions if I'm able to make the video on the solar eclipse. In this video, I will be making very general predictions for all the rising signs or the ascendants, because Saturn will be in Pisces for over 2 years. So it's really not a very feasible or a good idea to make extremely specific predictions, because the time frame of 2.5 years is a very long time. And during that time, several other heavy or big planets will also be making transits. And so the impact of Saturn would continuously change during that 2.5 years. So what I can do is provide you a very general theme for this long phase of 2.5 years. And you really should continue to listen to the forthcoming videos of the other important planetary transits as I publish them, so you can stay updated as to how Saturn's impact will change and what the predictions could be. So as long as you understand that, let's move on to understand how this planetary transit impacts us. But before I move on, let me remind you that if you still haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And for all those people that have already subscribed, I can't thank you enough. So thank you very much for being a loyal subscriber and watching my videos continuously and supporting me. So let's understand Saturn a little bit so we understand what kind of impact it will have on us. Saturn has been blessed with 3 aspects. It aspects the zodiac signs that are 3rd, 7th, and 10th from it. So when Saturn is in Pisces now, it will aspect the zodiacs of Taurus, Virgo, and Sagittarius. So if you have any planets in these zodiacs of Pisces, Taurus, Virgo, and Sagittarius, then these planets will get activated now. So you can expect some results from those planets in this phase of 2.5 years. And also don't forget that Jupiter is transiting in Taurus until May 14th this year. So Saturn will aspect Jupiter from Pisces until that date as well, so approximately 2 months. Now Saturn is a very highly influential planet that rules discipline, responsibility, and hardships. But its most important signification is that it monitors our karma. Hence, Saturn is considered a karmic planet because it gives us the results of these karmas, positive as well as negative, sometime during our life. The transit of Saturn is very important because it determines the timing of when some of us may experience the results of our past karmas. Whenever Saturn changes signs, it brings about a shift in our energy, altering how we experience responsibility, patience, and growth. When Saturn was in Aquarius for the last 2.5 years, it was in its own sign. Aquarius is owned by Saturn. So Saturn functioned in a very structured way and focused on the social order, technological advancement, social media, and financial gains. People almost obsessed with social media platforms, socializing with others, and financial gains, because those are the representations of Aquarius. However, as it transits to Pisces, which is a water sign ruled by Jupiter, the planet of wisdom and spirituality, the impact of Saturn will change significantly. People will prefer spiritual growth, emotional discipline, and they will prefer isolation. There can also be a restructuring of belief systems, which means that individuals may become very interested or attached or even obsessed with their own religious and spiritual beliefs. When Saturn is not well placed in a chart, an individual tends to become very racist and less tolerant of others' belief systems. Adversely, when Saturn is very well placed in an individual's chart, a person becomes very accepting of others' diverse religious beliefs. This is the self-test that you can do yourself to check the condition of Saturn in your own birth chart. It is for this reason that there will be religious clashes in some countries as well. People that have very badly placed Saturns will become so obsessed with their own religious beliefs that they will become less tolerant of others, and that's when the religious clashes start to happen. So you can do this test yourself to see if you have a well-placed Saturn or not. Are you racist? Are you less tolerant of other people's religions? then you have a badly placed Saturn in your chart. And of course, you can improve it by becoming tolerant or becoming less racist. But sometimes it's hard to overcome our basic personality traits, although I'm going to give you the guidance that it's entirely possible to improve the condition of Saturn in your own birth chart. Now I'm going to move on to predictions. Just remember that these predictions are based on your rising sign, also referred to as Lagna or Ascendant, and also they're based on Vedic astrology calculations, not Western or tropical astrology. So make sure you're listening to the correct sign. Aries, Saturn will transit your 12th house, which represents spirituality, foreign travel, expenses, and losses as well. And it also represents your sleep pattern. So it rules your 10th and 11th house, and it will aspect your 2nd house, your 6th house, and your 9th house. These houses indicate your career, finance. So Aries undergoes some major changes in these areas of their life. It can also indicate a very expensive time in their life. So financial management is strongly suggested. Aries, during the next 2 years or so, you can expect that your expenses will increase during this phase of Saturn. It will be challenging to save, so avoid impulsive or unnecessary spending. There is a chance that you think about changing your career and going overseas. Now, if that's the case, this is entirely possible during this time. Aries needs to manage their relationships in their workplace very carefully because there can be some issues with coworkers as well. Avoid taking on large loans and debts because they may be very hard to pay off at a later date. Therefore, this is not a very favorable time to start new ventures. So if you really must start something, then consult a good astrologer to check your personal birth chart for that, so they can check the placement of Saturn in your birth chart. Most Aries will become rather disciplined and hardworking now, and their daily routine may change to accommodate either a new career, job, or to bring some spirituality in their lives. Yes, Aries is going to be drawn towards spirituality, and there is possibility of some religious travel or overseas travel as well sometime during this phase. Avoid misunderstandings with your spouse because this phase may tend to give you dry communication style, lack of a sense of humor, which may create friction with family members as well. There is a phase where you need to be watchful of your health also. There can be ups and downs in your health, especially related to legs and mobility. Having a regular workout or physical regimen can alleviate any of the health concerns that have chances of coming up. The best guidance is doing yoga because that kind of takes care of not only the mental stress, but it also gives you some physical workout. There will also be the tendency to eat stale, salty, or fried foods at this time, and these could cause health concerns. So try to make sure you eat on time, eat fresh foods consisting of fruits and vegetables. That will be very helpful to maintain good health. Women, you need to take care of your gynecological health at this time. Also, take care of your father's health and maintain a very harmonious relationship with him. Good luck. For Taurus, Saturn will transit your 11th house of gains, wishes, and desires, and of course your social life. It rules your 9th and 10th house. Saturn now aspects your 1st, 5th, and 8th house. Now this phase will be a time of transformation for Taurus, not only in their physical body, but in also how they think, behave, and how they handle their careers. It's a very positive time for Taurus. For Taurus, there's no doubt that this is a very favorable phase in terms of career and financial gains. They will experience exceptional growth and recognition because luck and destiny will now favor them. If there was some unearned income that they have been waiting for, then this phase will provide that income as well. And that could be things such as insurance or inheritance settlements or even large gifts. There can be success in new ventures. Individuals in the research or spiritual sciences will do exceptionally well. But since they are going to get so caught up in putting all their effort and hard work towards these areas, there is danger that they can start ignoring their physical health and their diet. So they're going to be cautioned to take very good care of their physical health. There can be gastric and digestive issues, and these can actually come on very suddenly. So don't ignore your diet or health at all. If you get any chance to increase your skills or get any additional education, regardless of any age, by all means, take advantage of it. It will be very beneficial for you in the long term. For those involved in litigation or competition of any kind, this is very, very favorable for that as well. Love relationships should be handled cautiously. Now, this means that this is the time you will make a decision regarding love relationships if you're single and you're in a relationship. If you are serious, then there is an excellent chance of getting married or making a firm or serious commitment. But if you don't handle your partner correctly, then there is also the chance of separation. This could be due to financial issues as well as issues about in-laws or family pressure. Taurus will be extremely serious and interested in spiritual pursuits or following their religious belief systems. Now, there can be trips for religious or spiritual purposes as well as for educational purposes as well during this phase. If you get the opportunity to travel for educational reasons, or if you are given the opportunity where you can increase your skill set regardless of your age, then please, by any means, make sure you follow that, because it can have very many benefits in the long term. If you do take spiritual trips, they will have the potential to transform you and bring out the best of your destiny and luck in your life. So make sure you do pursue them. For Gemini, Saturn will transit your 10th house of career, social status, prestige, and daily karma. It rules your 8th and 9th house. So Saturn now aspects your 12th, 4th, and 7th house. Some Geminis may relocate during this time, and for some it could be due to a career change as well. It could also be a little bit of an expensive time for Gemini, so you need to invest with caution. For Gemini, the main signification is your career, your household, and your marriage. Now, this phase signifies a change of residence. So if Gemini did not already have relocation in the last 18 months or so due to the transits of Rahu and Ketu, they may have relocation now in this Saturn transit. Even more so if it involves overseas countries. So for those Geminis that were interested in relocating overseas for job or education purposes, then there's a very good possibility of it now. Also, if Gemini is looking to relocate back to their motherland, then that is possible as well. Whether relocation is done happily or forced depends upon whether Saturn is well placed or challenged in your birth chart. Now, this transit will give favorable results in career for Gemini, especially if Saturn is well placed in the birth chart. Then there can be good success in your job, an increase in income, prestige, and prosperity can be expected. Invest with care though right now, because the chances of loss are possible due to the involvement of the 12th house of loss and expense. Although there can be favorable results from this transit, Gemini will tend to take on mental stress even if there is no real reason for it. Now, most Geminis will worry about their domestic situation, their relationships, and their future financial situation. There could be some lack of domestic happiness, which could be due to in-laws or home-related matters. Saturn aspects the 4th house of domestic bliss, so Geminis will tend to worry about even if there's no real reason to worry about anything. Saturn is the planet of worry, hence there's going to be worry whether there's a real reason or not. As far as finance is concerned, there could be sudden, large, and unexpected expenses that come up as well. So my guidance is to control your expenses very tightly and think twice before spending or investing your money. Some Geminis could also be faced with financial issues later during the transit, where they would need to take on loans and debts in the future, so make sure you have healthy savings now. Now, this is only for those individuals that have Saturn in your birth chart that is not so well placed or have a challenging dasha that comes up in the next 2 years. Take good care of your mother's health, as well as make sure you maintain a very harmonious relationship with her during this phase. As I mentioned previously, Gemini could be faced with a lack of harmony and understanding in their marriage, and that could lead to some stressful situations at home. However, later in the year, after October, there could be some relief from this when Jupiter transits in your own ascendant house of Mercury and aspects the 7th house of marriage. Gemini could also be very interested in religion and spirituality, and some may travel for religious purposes as well. Stay close to your divine and spirituality, and this will certainly help in alleviating the mental stress situation a lot. For Cancer, Saturn will transit to your ninth house of spirituality, religious beliefs, higher education, travel for religious or even educational purposes. And it also signifies your coaches, gurus, mentors, and your father. It rules your seventh and your eighth house. So Saturn now aspects your 11th, third, and sixth house. This is an indication that with the right effort, you will get very good gains and recognition in your career. There can be some positive changes for Cancer as well. For Cancer, it's the start of an improved and luckier time as compared to the previous 2.5 years, because Saturn now transits into your ninth house of destiny and luck. It was previously transiting in your eighth house, so that means the end of Ashtama Shani, which is the challenging phase of Saturn, transiting eighth from your ascendant. Cancer has been working very hard for the last couple of years and feeling as if they weren't getting rewarded. So now it can expect to reap the rewards and recognition for those past efforts. Several Cancers can see good gains as well as recognition and promotion in their jobs during this phase. For those that were looking for a new job, this is a favorable time for that as well. Make sure to maintain very positive relationships with your seniors and coworkers as well. Be part of the team at work and don't create issues with others or try to be selfish in your working habits. This can be quite damaging in the long term. There can be good gains, and business owners can also expect better profits. But you will be required to continue to work hard because Saturn is the ruler of your eighth house. So take all career and financial decisions very carefully or with expert guidance so you don't end up with negative consequences. Several Cancers will now experience a change in their daily routine, and this could be due to accommodating a more healthier lifestyle. This could also be due to a new career or the hard work that they're being required to put in. My guidance for Cancer is to take extra care of their health because there could be some ups and downs in the health, especially related to issues with shoulders, neck, and legs. Some Cancers may also experience digestive issues, especially if they have been prone to them in the past. Be aware that a lot of relationship houses are getting activated at this time, so you will need to maintain pleasant relationships with your siblings, in-laws, and most definitely your spouse. Avoid the tendency to nitpick or be judgmental about others. A negative Saturn or a challenged Saturn in the birth chart makes a person find fault in others and then want to scold or punish them. Now, this tendency must be controlled at all costs, or you may find that you have damaged all your relationships by the end of this 2.5 year period. Try to bring a healthy dose of spirituality in your life and be very, very accepting of others just the way they are. The next couple of years can see you traveling quite frequently for work, education, visiting relatives, especially siblings, as well for fun, so you can look forward to that. Take extra care of your father's health and do everything to maintain a happy relationship with him. Some of you may be even traveling for spiritual or educational purposes. For Leo, Saturn will transit to your eighth house of transformation, sudden changes, even maybe some delays and obstacles. It rules your sixth and seventh house, but Saturn will now aspect your 10th house, your second house, and your fifth house. So Leo will now go through what's called Ashtama Shani. This means that Saturn is eighth from your ascendant. So you will need to manage your career and finance with extreme care through this transit phase. For Leos, the impact this transit will have will be very heavily dependent on the placement and condition of Saturn in your birth chart. But mostly all Leos can be prepared for some transformation or changes in their life. You will not need to start taking very good care of your health. This most definitely includes your diet and eating habits. Some Leos may start eating a lot of stale, salty, and fried foods. There may also be a tendency to skip meals or not eat at regular meal times. Now, this kind of a diet or lack of healthy eating schedules can lead to digestive issues, during this extended phase of 2.5 years. Some Leos may even have issues with the lower bowel, especially if they have been prone to it in the past. Most Leos will experience job changes during sometime this phase of 2.5 years, even if it means changing your workstation within the same office. For Leos that were looking to change their jobs, my only guidance is not to resign from your current job without first making sure you have another confirmed offer and you have another job. My guidance for all Leos is to make sure you work at your optimum performance and don't challenge your superiors. Make sure you maintain good professional relationships with your coworkers, because if you don't, there could be some coworkers that work against you behind your back. Now, this is especially applicable for those Leos that work in the government sector or are somehow connected to the government in their job or career. It could also relate to those that work in the healthcare sector. This is a favorable time for education regardless of your age. So even for the mature Leos, if you get a chance to develop additional skills or get advanced education, you should definitely avail of it because it could prove to be very beneficial in the future. As I mentioned, work with extreme care because there is the possibility of some past issue coming up now and creating problems for you as well. So be aware of everything going on around you in terms of career as well as family matters. There could also be some issues within the family that come up. So make sure you maintain harmony with everyone. Don't get into fights, disputes, or squabbles within family members. If there were issues that occurred in the past, there will be the possibility that those come up again, especially if those relate to children, finance, and inheritance matters. Try your best to resolve them rather than drag them on. The good news for Leo is that during this phase, you will learn who your real well-wishers are and who is not. So treat this period as one of learning. Stay close to your divine and practice spirituality. Mantra practice will have magical results for Leo during this phase. Leo, I definitely don't mean to worry or scare you, but most of you will probably see a lot better results after May, middle of May, when Jupiter transits your 11th house. So you don't really need to worry too much of the negative results. And this is also based on if Saturn is doing well in your chart, then you probably won't see too much of the bad results anyway. Good luck. Virgo, Saturn will transit your 7th house of marriage, spouse, partnerships, business, and public relations. It rules your 5th and 6th house. So Saturn will now aspect your 4th, 9th, and your own ascendant house, which is the 1st house. So you will take on mental stress for really no reason, and you should take care of your health at this time. As long as you can manage your stress and be spiritual, you should have no issues during this transit. It should be an okay transit for Virgos. Virgo, this transit puts the focus on relationships, your marriage, your love relationship, and relationships with children as well. If you are a business owner, then it also puts the focus on your relationship with your business partner. So this is almost like a phase that puts these relationships to the test and also your sincerity to these relationships. You undergo a transformation of sorts in how you will handle these relationships and the people involved in them. There's a chance that your spouse goes through some health issues and you will be required to not only help out but also maintain some understanding and patience through that phase. For those of you Virgos that have been wanting to get married, this is a very favorable time for that. Not only that, but you will find someone that is your perfect choice and it will give you lots of happiness. On the other hand, those Virgos that were wanting to separate from their current partner, that can occur as well per your intent. The bottom line is Saturn's transit in the 7th house gives you whatever it is that you want your intention to be regarding your marriage. This phase is very favorable time to learn new or creative ways to do things. This is a favorable time for individuals that are associated with education, banking, finance, and auditing fields in their career, and they can do very well in their job. For some, it may even mean staying away from their home and domestic environment if they are in a traveling job. Handle your business partner with understanding and respect if applicable. For those Virgos that were interested in starting a new venture with a business partner, you can do that during this phase. Obviously, you would pick a partner that is well suited and that you would work amicably with. There can be some religious travel or travel for educational purposes. In fact, some Virgos may be very drawn towards spirituality or religion a lot. They may even be interested in finding a spiritual guru or coach to follow or learn from during this phase. Take good care of your health during this time as well. If you have been susceptible to chest issues, digestive issues, or pain in your legs, then these issues may resurface during the next couple of years as well, or throughout this 2.5 year phase. Monitor your health closely and don't ignore any health symptoms. Your digestion will tend to slow down, and so you could have bowel issues at this time also. Try to eat fiber and drink lots of hot water during this phase. Having a good workout regimen will certainly help as well. I encourage Virgos to do mantra chanting of their favorite mantra, since both the 5th and 9th houses are both being activated. So these could give a lot of mental peace and bring lots of happiness in your life. Libra, Saturn will transit to your 6th house of health, debts and loans, competition, daily routine, pets, and even maternal relatives. It rules your 5th and 4th house. So normally Saturn's transit in the 6th house is considered okay. It's not a bad transit for you. Saturn will aspect the 3rd, 8th, and the 12th houses. So these are the houses of hard work, self-effort, but also health for Libras. This is going to be a good transit for Libra. Libra, Saturn's transit in the 6th house is considered an okay one. In fact, it's considered positive in some matters. Libra can now expect favorable results in their career due to the fact that they will win against any competition or overcome the impact of enemies or co-workers that may be working against them. They can also get good gains and gain of wealth and prestige during this time. If they had any pending litigation or matters against them, then there can be victories in those matters during this Saturn transit. The house of self-effort, which is the 3rd house, is being activated. So Libra will be quite motivated to go after their desires and work hard towards their wishes and desires. If they were interested in starting new ventures, then it's a favorable time for doing that. But you really should make sure that Saturn is well placed in your chart and you have a positive dasha during this time. My guidance is regarding loans and debts. Be very cautious about not taking on too much debt, because your ability to pay it off at a later date will solely depend upon the condition of Saturn in your birth chart. There is the possibility of good gains from purchase on real estate, but only for the long-term investments. So my condition is that if you must purchase to hold long-term, not short-term, there can be indications of good gains in the long term. There are indications of purchase of new vehicles as well during this 2.5 year transit of Saturn. Relocation is very possible due to a job or career change. In fact, if there is a new opportunity that does arise during this 2.5 year phase, then it would be quite beneficial for you to pursue it. But there's also indications that the family may not be willing and prove to be an obstacle in pursuing any career change involving relocation. And there are chances that Libra may lose out on very beneficial career opportunities due to unwise decisions. So Libra needs to be aware of that. In fact, if you are thinking along those lines even now, make sure you start talking to your family about that, so the chance of you losing out on these opportunities is minimized. There is a possibility of a lot of travel, long distance as well as short distance travels during this phase. Now, Libra needs to take good care of their health also during this time. Don't do anything adventurous and definitely avoid risky activities. Drive carefully as well. The 6, 8, 12 houses have been activated, and sometimes when all these 3 houses get activated, sometimes a person can get accident prone. So definitely take care of things and activities that could be risky in nature. Libras that have had chest or breathing issues in the past should also take care of health, and don't ignore any health symptoms should you have them. Libra would also need to maintain harmony and understanding in the relationship with the in-laws and siblings as well. Scorpio, Saturn will transit to your fifth house of education, children, love life, creativity, and your own intelligence. It rules your third and fourth house. Saturn will aspect the second, seventh, and the 11th house. So these are the houses for wealth and family relationships. So both these would be a focus for Scorpio individuals, and they will need to manage these issues carefully during the Saturn transit. For Scorpio, most of the impact will be on family relationships and how they handle their family and financial responsibility. My guidance is that Scorpio will be required to come out of the comfort zone that Scorpio has been enjoying in terms of relationships and finance since the last transit of Saturn. They will need to manage their love relationship as well as their marriage and spouse with extra patience and understanding. Harmony in the marriage will be tested, so be understanding and value your relationships. The fifth house represents love relationships of single Scorpios and also relationships with children and education. The transit of Saturn in this fifth house indicates a time to make a decision in your love life. Depending upon the placement of Saturn in your birth chart, it could mean making a serious commitment to your love partner and even a favorable time for getting married. If single, it could mean finding your soulmate. But for those Scorpios that are already experiencing several challenges in their love life, it could mean separation if that's what you so decide. This transit also indicates that Scorpio may have to deal with some worries regarding their children that could possibly relate to their children and their education. However, those Scorpios that are in the field of education will do well, and students will do well as well because they will take on a very serious and hardworking approach to their studies. The finances house are getting activated, so there could be good gains during this phase, but there could also be lots of stress and tension related to these financial gains as well. Scorpios may have to approach their seniors and request for these financial increases, or they may have to work extra hard to prove their worth. Overall, it's a favorable time for financial benefits and increases. This time is also very favorable for getting support from your professional network for any help that you may need in terms of your career. Reach out to your contacts in case you're looking for a new job or require any professional guidance or counseling. Now, the most favorable aspect is that you can reach out to any of your contacts for any expert financial guidance and advice that can help you with personal financial management. Now, this is also a very favorable time for making investments, but like I mentioned, get good expert guidance to help you make smart decisions and choices. Scorpio may also have the additional responsibility to help out or support their siblings. During this phase, you may be required to take care of your mother's health as well as fulfill your responsibilities towards her in case she's elderly or senior and requires assistance in any way. Sagittarius, Saturn will transit to your fourth house of your mother, real estate, vehicles, primary education, mental happiness, and your domestic environment. It rules your second and your third house. Saturn now aspects your sixth, 10th, and your own ascendant or your first house. You start focusing on your health, primarily your mental stress and how you can handle your career and your daily routine. So need to work on your mental stress during this 2.5 years. Sagittarius, you can now be prepared for several changes in your physical body, your career, and your overall approach to life. Yes, this is a transit that brings about some transformations in you because your prior lifestyle probably does not work for you anymore. Your health and your taking care of your physical body now becomes primary focus and very important to you. So some of you might become slightly obsessed with bodybuilding, working out, and following a healthy diet. Now, this is for those Sagittarius that have a very well-placed Saturn in their charts. Those individuals that may not have such a good placement of Saturn or are undergoing a negative dasha or antardasha may do the exact opposite and totally ignore their health and adopt not the best health habits. So this entirely depends on Sagittarius on which approach they want to take. But if they don't take care of their health, there can be some issues with their health that they have to contend with during this transit. You will also need to closely monitor your diet. You may be tempted to eat stale, salty, and fried foods, and this could harm your health and result in digestive and gastric issues. So eat fresh foods, fruits, and vegetables, which will minimize health concerns. Also eat on time and don't skip your meals. Some Sagittarians could also experience some mental stress related to household matters or finance related worries. There may be some stress on your marriage as well, so try your best to manage through that instead of making it much worse. Relocation is a definite possibility for Sagittarius, especially if this is something that has been getting delayed for a long time. It could be a little troublesome in the beginning, but eventually it will work out very well during this transit phase. Now, the relocation could also be due to a job or a career change of yourself or your spouse. Career changes are very possible for Sagittarius during this transit as well. Those individuals looking for a new job have very good prospects of finding a new one now with good financial gains. Individuals that have jobs that involve traveling or getting paid commission will do exceptionally well. In fact, this transit is very favorable for individuals that work in marketing, social media, IT, communication, and sales. This is a favorable time for income and savings, but there can be lots of pressure to put in a lot of hard work while maintaining discipline and self-effort. You will constantly need to prove your self-worth to everyone in the workplace. If you are able to do this well, you can enjoy good recognition, prestige, and an increase in income. You need to take care of your mother's health and maintain very positive relationships with your extended family, especially siblings. Make sure you're there for them if they need your support and fulfill all your obligations and responsibilities towards them. Capricorn, Saturn will transit to your third house of communication, short travels, siblings, neighbors, and even social media. It rules your first and second house. Saturn now aspects your 5th, 9th, and 12th houses. Capricorn will be very drawn to spirituality and also education if you're at that age. There can be lots of travel during this 2.5-year transit, and for several reasons as well. Every single travel house is getting activated for Capricorn, so get ready to pack your bags. Capricorn, Saturn is your ascendant lord, and this is a time for several changes for Capricorn. Now, the biggest impact might be that Capricorn becomes drawn to spirituality and religion. They may want to learn more about it and start searching on social media to learn about it. In fact, some Capricorns might even want to search for a spiritual guru or teacher to learn from, and they might do that through social media and internet, etc. I am recommending mantra chanting for Capricorn because the 5th and 9th houses together signify that, so mantras will give you lots of peace and happiness. Capricorn will not only learn all about spirituality, but they will also turn around and teach others what they have learned. These qualities can earn Capricorn the respect and admiration of others. I encourage Capricorn to teach others whatever they can or help others in whatever capacity they can, because that can be considered the donation of knowledge, and it will alleviate the negative significations of the 12th house, which could otherwise signify high expenses and losses. Donation to charity is also highly recommended when the 12th house is activated. Yes, most Capricorns could get slightly obsessed with social media also during this transit. Lots of them may even start watching travel sites and travel channels. One other aspect could be that Capricorn now becomes creatively inclined and takes up a hobby, either one that they used to practice in the past or a completely new hobby. Make sure to learn any new creative activity from a teacher or expert, and that would give you lots of happiness and you will be able to really excel at it as well. Now, the biggest factor will be your communication and your self-worth during this transit. Make sure that the words and tone that you use is pleasant and very appropriate. You will have the ability to not only convince others, but also impress others with your guidance and wisdom. So make sure you're helping utilize your communication skills appropriately. Individuals that are employed in any field related to communication, such as marketing, IT, social media, sales, media, and public relations, will do exceptionally well. All the travel houses are getting activated, so Capricorn could perhaps be doing all kinds of travel. There could be travel for religious or spiritual purposes or for educational purposes as well. There is possibility of relocation to overseas as well. However, I do have a caution, which is to make sure all your documentation would be in proper order. Otherwise, there can be some serious obstacles and delays. Individuals that are involved in the educational field or students will also do very well because they will have a rather serious and mature approach to their studies. Health will be so much better than the past because all the recovery houses are being activated. So if you were troubled previously by mental stress, aches and pains, you can now expect to feel a lot better and experience some mental happiness and peace as well. Prior domestic issues could resolve themselves now as well. Overall, this transit for Capricorn focuses more on mental and emotional well-being and happiness rather than career and financial worries. It's a very happy transit for Capricorn, so definitely enjoy. Aquarius, Saturn will transit to your second house of finance, family, speech, and the food that you eat, and also your savings. It rules your 12th and your first house. Saturn will aspect 4th, 8th, and the 11th house. The 2nd and 11th houses are both wealth and finance houses. Hence, the transit of Saturn indicates good financial gains for Aquarius individuals. So that's their focus will be on how to make more money, and they will make good money. Aquarius, Saturn is your Lagna Lord, and after transiting in your own ascendant house for the last couple of years, that has been making Aquarius little exhausted, lethargic, and they probably learned a very tough lesson via troubles of different kinds. Now Saturn moves to their second house of finance and family. Aquarius will be utilizing these lessons and be very motivated to increase their earnings, improve their financial condition, and be very focused on their material wishes and desires. And they will want financial stability over anything else. Aquarius will need to work very hard and be disciplined if they want to fulfill their desires. And even though it might take some time, they will eventually see the results of their efforts. This is an exceptional time for individuals that are working in the field of research, law, astrology, secret services, debt collection, and some medical fields as well. There are favorable chances of getting sudden or unearned financial gains as well during this transit. Those could be inheritance and insurance settlements or gains from in-laws. This is a good time for long-term investments rather than short-term investments. Some Aquarians might have real estate transactions, and they could be for investment purposes or even for their own relocation purposes. Real estate sales could be profitable during this time. There could also be the purchase of vehicles or large home-related expenses such as home improvement or furniture and furnishings. This can also be an expensive time due to some unexpected expenses that come up and surprise you. So stay a little flexible in case that happens. But Aquarius is really going to be committed more towards building their savings and resources rather than frivolous spending. This is a favorable time for Aquarius to get married if that is what they really want to do. Basically, this is the transit that will be able to fulfill their wishes and desires of Aquarius as long as they're dedicated and work towards what they want. Saturn's transit in the second house of family basically indicates that Aquarius will have responsibilities and obligations that they will have to fulfill towards certain family members, and they will be quite involved and busy doing that during this transit. My guidance for Aquarius is to do whatever they can to maintain harmony in relationships with their family. Their speech and use of words may become very dry and give the impression that they really don't care, and it can turn off friends and family. So make sure to watch your communication style, keep it pleasing and caring. Otherwise, people may keep bringing it up for a long time of what you said, what you didn't say, or how you said it. Some Aquarians may feel like distancing themselves from family due to disinterest in even communicating with them. However, my guidance is to not let that be your approach, because in the long run, this attitude or poor communication style can damage relationships. There will be a tendency to eat stale, salty, and fried foods, which could prove to be troubling for digestive health and cause issues with lower bowels. Make sure to eat fresh fruits and vegetables and drink lots of water if you want to make sure you have good digestive health. This is overall a very good transit for Aquarius. Pisces, Saturn will transit in your first house of self, your physical body, and your general behavior. It rules your 11th and 12th houses. So Saturn will now aspect your 3rd, 7th, and 10th houses. These houses indicate your marriage, spouse, business partners, and siblings. And it also indicates your business and your finances. It's time to handle your relationships with a lot of care, and your finances will need to be managed with a lot of care as well during this time. Pisces, this is a time when you will become very disciplined, trustworthy, and dependable, because this is the impact Saturn will have on you and your approach when it transits your first house. It is transformatory in nature and make you serious and mature in your thinking, whether you like it or not. So it might force you to become that way. Your focus will become your career, and you will think about what and how you can put efforts in it to advance and grow in it. This is even more felt by business owners who will be very motivated by business profitability and start thinking about new investments, or even perhaps purchasing a new business or expanding your current business. Your marriage and spouse will need your attention and understanding. Your partner may feel like you are not putting enough effort in the marriage, and therefore you may feel that you're unable to maintain the work-life balance in your life. So think about how you can solidify your marriage and your other relationships at this time. This will be a testing time for all your relationships as you try to manage all your personal responsibilities. Your family members may be feeling that you're abandoning them or ignoring them, and this will test you as well. Communication is going to be very important for you, because it either firm up your relationships or even have the power to shatter some relationships based on how you talk to people, what you say to them. My guidance is to develop your network, both personal and professional. This will help you to learn, advance, and grow, not only in your career, but also as an individual and in your personal life. You will meet people that can mentor and coach you in your career. Also, don't hesitate to ask for support from your professional network in a time that you need. You might be surprised to see what kind of response you get. But be the very first one to offer help if others ask for help, because that is a remedy for the 12th house. It will manage the negative energy of the 12th house, which means expenses. So you need to do donations during this time or give help to others, and that will manage the expense part of this transit. Some Pisces may have to travel a lot for career reasons, and some may even have a chance to travel overseas. If Pisces is interested in relocating for career purposes, then this is a favorable time to do that. Individuals that are involved with overseas or MNCs or anything to do with an outside foreign country in their job or career, they will do very well at this time. Business owners that want to expand their business to overseas or foreign countries, this is a very favorable time to do that. But make sure that all your paperwork is in order so you are not faced with delays and obstacles later. There is a good possibility of advancement or increases in income, but you will have to work hard and make a lot of effort for it, but eventually you will see the fruits of your effort. Overall, it's an okay transit for Pisces. Be ready for transformation in your outlook and how you handle life and people in general. This should be very interesting, but very positive in some ways for Pisces. And with this, I come to the end of my video. I hope you have enjoyed it and it was useful for you. I will see you on a future video. Goodbye for now and good luck.